You are watching Liberty On.
This is Liberty Online TV powered by Orange Sierra Leone. Orange.
It's Labor Day. After all the grind, stress, and queries at the office, it's time to ease your brain, laugh out loud, and feel like the CEO. Larger with Kingdom Hustle will make sense on Labor Day, Friday, May 1st, 2026.
Venue, prestigious Pinto Money Hotel, 7 p.m.
Ticket prices: Kilo, 500 leons. Answer, 1,000 leons. Amin, table for 4, 10,000 leons. Adil, table for 8, 20,000 leons. You don't buy yourself plenty. Now come and laugh. No excuse. Media partner, Liberty Online TV, and cooked by Eminence Africa.
I say, it don't make sense. I don't make sense.
Building tomorrow today with Rightmove. Looking for quality, reliability, and innovation in your next big build? Choose Rightmove Engineering and Construction, Sierra Leone's trusted name in transforming ideas into enduring structures. We don't just build projects, we craft landmarks that stand the test of time. From state-of-the-art offices and modern homes to fuel stations, water systems, and infrastructure, our team delivers precision, passion, and perfection. At Rightmove, we are not following industry standards, we are setting them. Through cutting-edge technology, uncompromising safety, and sustainable solutions, we are building a brighter, stronger, and safer Sierra Leone. Visit us at 54 Campbell Street, Freetown, or call 078399475 or 077504338. Rightmove Engineering and Construction. Building quality, building trust, building the future.
To pay bills with the UBA mobile app, just log into the app. Click on Pay Bills within the Quick Links dashboard. You'll be provided with a list of various biller categories like cable TV, sports and gaming, utilities, airtime and data, and so on. Click on the biller category you want. Then select from a list of price options provided by the biller. Click Confirm to proceed with the transaction. Enter your PIN and click OK. And you're done. Enjoy paying your bills with the UBA mobile app.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Breakfast Show, where they come to you live from Liberty Online TV, where they stream na Facebook, YouTube, and also now a website where they powered by Orange Sierra Leone. We will they bring this edition of the Breakfast Show come to you this Tuesday morning. My name is Khadija Bangura.
And me na Mabel Kaba. Good morning. Today na Tuesday, the 20. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Today na Tuesday, the 24th day of February 2026. Inside this edition of the Breakfast Show today, we will continue the conversation we get for do with the appointment of Edmond Sylvester Alpha as Chief Electoral Commissioner. as the president be don get this appointment after we word comot say about 12 political party them agree for an appointment as chief electoral commissioner. E go for appear na parliament for let parliament go decide whether this position go hold water or not. But the conversation they continue today. We can talk to the lawyer society and position on this appointment. You will know inside this edition of the breakfast show. We also go hear from the Sierra Leone Bar Association, waiting themselves think about this appointment. And later we go for talk to the members of parliament and back, where they can tell we waiting and think about this position for let Edmond Alpha become the chief electoral commissioner. Now the conversation that's where we get at this edition of the breakfast show.
Issues them you go as well know inside this edition of the breakfast show, as this morning who they can look at the different position them we get for do with the appointment of Edmond Sylvester Alpha as the new chief electoral commissioner. Well, if you don't follow Liberty TV, a build up to the appointment, so we don't get conversation them around this particular issue we get for do with the appointment of Edmond Alpha. As we all know, the constitutional amendments bill we get electoral reforms them already in a parliament. They wait for the member of parliament them go look inside the different proposal where the government on care go before them. But amidst this particular constitutional amendments bill, we get a clause where they determine how His Excellency the President for appoint the next chief electoral commissioner will go conduct the 2028 election. Many people be surprised for see Usai President will be use the old method through consultation of political parties for appoint Edmond Alpha. Why not wait for the constitutional amendments bill done already, way day before Parliament done, before he appoints the chief electoral commissioner? Now, one of the questions that many people don't they ask, but according to the presidency, and say he received 12 political party them their support for appoint Edmond Alpha. Well, among the 16 political parties, His Excellency say he received 12, and finally, it don't appoint Edmond Alpha, where they wait for parliamentary approval. So today, when they can look at the legal aspect, as we see, Lawyer Society, when an entity of different lawyers them, and also the Sierra Leone Bar Association, they already put a press release. They congratulate Edmond Alpha for this appointment. But the Lawyer Society, they question the appointment of Edmond Alpha. So they can talk to the two sides them for let the Bar Association tell we why them feel say the president go according to the right constitutional instruments them for appoint Edmond Alpha. And the Lawyer Society themselves go explain why they feel say the president no use the right constitutional instruments them for appoint Edmond Alpha. Then later we go put the question out to the member of parliament them as all thing then at the end now. Now then get for know whether them for approve Edmond Alpha or they not go approve him. That you go know inside this edition of the breakfast show. You say for the watch we will get the opportunity for the part of the conversation this morning. Send we your message on the number +23274200545. You can as well text in the comment section at any of the platform them with the watch we. Where this morning we want for welcome Claude Bami Davis, when are the public relations officer for the Lawyer Society, where from the term where President Bio starts this consultation with political parties, also he writes to them, give them about 3 days for sending their own views about Edmond Alpha. They don't they come out, they don't they speak about the method where His Excellency the President wants for use for appoint Edmond Alpha. Good morning, Mr. Davis.
Good morning, Khadija. Good morning, Mabel. And good morning, listeners.
All right, just like what I tell we viewers then this morning, from the term first way President Bio start the consultation onto the term where the appointments come on the pull press releases for state owner views them to the public. Then we look at the way how President Bio use for appoint Edmond Alpha. Which one a make up of that method?
Thank you very much for that, Khadija. We real thought now that the 2023 elections will get some concerns where people raise, right? The main opposition or one of the main opposition parties, when APC say, oh, now we win this election, but the Rugui, it was rigged. SLPP say, well, if una say the Uguna, una show una proof of waiting, una get to, una say now una result, now una win. ECSL was called upon to produce the disaggregated. We renew themselves do their own. So all of those concerns now culminate into the formation of the tripartite committee. And that tripartite committee day was established so as to address then concerns here way over the 2023 elections for future elections. The first one of those future elections would be 2028 election. And so if their recommendations and the way the tripartite come out with provide for the referee in appointment by having such a nomination committee, we think, say, out of goodwill, good conscience, and commitment to that then recommendation, and especially that one day we get for do it, how for choose the electoral commissioners them, including the chief electoral commissioner. The president and the government should have restrained from proceeding with an appointment we follow the old script we create this problem. So this is our position. Say, yes, you have the powers to appoint, because I hear a lot of conversation around, oh, Naso, the former president, late Tijan Kababi appoint, Naso, former president, Anes Baiko Mami appoint. Yes, we agree. But if that reason, that appointment, they would have been follow, now one of the issues them, we create problem, we don't get the recommendation here for do electoral reforms and election management, then we should not go back to it. So that is why we said, President, you have the right, you have the powers, as stated in Section 70 of the 1991 Constitution. But because we already get conversations around this appointment, around the electoral processes there, do your wait first, not go to this Constitution, make sure, say, they implement the thing here. And that was why when the first press release come out, the first letter come out, they say it don't appoint Sylvester Edmond Alpha, but they seek the views of the political parties them. We say that was hasty. And even now to the appointment as confirmed, we say it is hasty and undermines the electoral process for reforms in the electoral conduct.
We make the how the law, because there's an existing law where the president used for the appointment, and that particular amendment within the pan not done yet. So why on a thing say the two they mix up?
Okay, so all of this way we they do so for this electoral management and electoral reform, the focus na 2028. We knew that the stakeholders that when we engage in the tripartite committee, they no say all of this way we they do now for meet up 2028. So if we are 21 months away to the 2028 elections, in fact, inside that same recommendation, they say the election for be held in November 2028. So let's say yes, 21 months. Why can't you wait? Again, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, a confirm say all things being equal by April, all of these would have been done and dusted with. So from now to April, does it look like forever? No. So if we don't say anything where we they do now, or make we get we elections in 2028 and other future elections them transparent and free, then we get for follow the recommendations and they. If the constitutional amendment bill or the recommendations and the way the tripartite committee pull not been get anything for do with the office of the electoral commissioner, we will not be here having any conversation. We're not for even to talk about it. But he speak to this appointment. And so for make the president now come and they follow the script of the constitution where we been get problem na the 2023 elections around the issue there, then we see say it's sort of a betrayal of legitimate expectation. Call it this way. An example will be when President Bio come in 2028, he say he abolish the death penalty. Well, yeah, right? And you see, say because of that promise day, he went on to make Parliament enact the abolition of death penalty in 2022. If President Bio had promised that he would abolish the death penalty, and then going up to the end of in terms, the 2 terms, now we don't get, he not do nothing, that would have amounted to a breach or a betrayal of the legitimate expectation of the people for the abolition of death penalty. It is the same thing. The government committee say, we go left an electoral template. We go serve the test of time. We go make all elections then be free and fair. They're committed to the TRC. And if government and the president don't state explicitly say we're committed to the TRC, to the tripartite recommendations, now why are you diverting from your commitment by appointing in a way we get questioned as opposed to the recommendations of the tripartite committee?
All right, Bami, you're not a lawyer. Let's just ask you this technical question. We don't seem for the confuse a lot of people in. An agreement with 2 people indicate a binding for strictly adhere to from a law perspective.
It is circumstantial. Now, this agreement is just not any agreement. It is an agreement for national unity. We all see the tensions will arise after the 2023. And imagine 3 years down the line, we're still talking about 2023 elections. So for national unity and for fair elections going forward, then 2 people here say, let us identify these issues we create problem in the 2023 elections. Those issues were identified. 2023, they started this late in 2023. 2024 late, we get the recommendations. In 2025, we started having conversation as to how for make, then they subsume or they input their recommendations here into the constitution because they want it to be binding. They not just say, oh, we are going to act on those recommendations on the paper where they defend themselves. No. They say we put them inside with constitution so it will become binding. So the intention of both parties now for make their recommendations here become binding. That is why it is recommended that they become part of the laws of the country.
So legally, the president and the government for go according to the recommendation of the tripartite where they also sign, especially when it comes on critical decisions like appointing the chief electoral commissioner. Now that you say?
Oh yes. You see, if we not follow their recommendations here or within the tripartite committee say, it bring the dangers are it bring distrust. So let us say you find out say when they form the tripartite committee, APC lets loose the guard from the 2023 election. Say okay, then they don't pass. Until now we don't sit on a table for make we address all the issues and they for meet up 2028. Then they don't pass, right? So they let loose the guard. Say we are now seated in the round table and we're discussing these issues. Now, if we all don't sit down, Mabel, for example, we all don't sit down, we don't agree on something, Khadija. Then, from what we agree, you begin do otherwise outside the agreement. You not trust me again, or Mabel not go trust you again, because now we sit down and agree, say now this and this we go do. Then you don't start for do otherwise. So the issue of trust. So it's again a betrayal of trust, both to national and international partners. If we not go by their recommendations, then they for meet up 2028 elections.
The question of if, not for the again by me, because it clearly shows say now, the government not dey go by waiting dey inside the agreement for peace and national unity. We born the tripartite committee. We get recommendation that we get for do with electoral reforms. So currently, waiting dey happen so between the government and that of the opposition. When they sign the documents and they agree on certain things that we they also supposed for implement. We don't hear the co-chair Dr. Kelfala Mara say the other co-chair when the chief minister not the even pick calls again for let them sit down and chat the way forward on how them for continue for discuss the implementation of waiting they all been signed to. How you can describe waiting they happen so currently in terms of implementing the tripartite recommendation we get for those electoral reforms?
It is a sad note for make we dey get the issue here after we've been thinking say our politicians were genuine. They wanted genuine reforms in the electoral process. And now for implement them, one side they say, oh, not so we be agree. The other side they say, oh, no, not so we agree. And we are seeing a departure already of the thing they did. It is not good for we country. You see, if we want for get the tension lessened, because all this tension, all this, now because of 2023. We see Usai, a lawyer, winner the Secretary General of the APC, again reflect on the 2023 elections, we create further problems. So if we don't say, let us handle this, let we not get this problem again and again, let we not get them. Let we use this road. Now that road they we for use. If we use another road, it's a betrayal and it don't bring issues of trust. And that is what we're seeing happening. It is sad. And, when you talk about, say, we don't see the departure already, we still want for things, say, this appointment is subject to parliamentary approval. I mean, many people would be laughing at me if I say we are reliant on parliament now. Say, okay, the president don't appoint. Parliament get in duty, in role for withhold this appointment and the approval for the good of we democracy. Already we see APC, they don't outrightly say, because I follow Minkailu, was saying, we know they accept this man. They have their reasons. We, Lawyer Society, we have not zoomed in on Edmond Alpha. We're not saying by the constitution he's not qualified. We are saying government for show good conscience, goodwill, and commitment to the tripartite recommendations and follow them to the letter.
The other side of the coin, Bami, in as much as these are electoral reforms where they go on, what you go say to critic, we go ask the question, say, but the electoral reforms not stop the president for make an appointment whilst the reforms here they go on. There is nowhere then sign say you shouldn't appoint a chief electoral commissioner whilst the reforms are on. What you go say?
Okay. Now the reason of this provision becoming redundant, eventually, if all the recommendations or the electoral reforms recommendations are adopted into the constitution. How? Now, let us say this appointment is approved by Parliament. You've already appointed the Chief Electoral Commissioner. Then in April, as the Deputy Speaker don't say, in April, they adopt the recommendations them of the TRC, of the Tripartite Committee, and then they become part of the Constitution. There is the amendment of Section 32, where they make room now for search and nomination committee. We, by extension, go get for appoint the Chief Electoral Commissioner and the Commission's commissioners. When presidents go to appoint and then Parliament do approve, what becomes of that provision? It's redundant for 2028.
So what
And
if
then
Parliament not agree for that amendment again?
well, I mean, that's why we want full and frank disclosure. If we get to a point where we know, say, this or their recommendation they are not a work, then president get justifiable reasons for proceed because you cannot continue to wait. But at this point, we have never got any inkling, any clue, say, their recommendations then they or the amendments no get for work. If we don't get to them, I mean, I say if around July, August, then we know you read nothing, presidency appointment could be justified. That I have waited, I have done all I could, but Parliament and the stakeholders then for the tiers, the tripartite recommendations, they're not able for adopt them, and so I am proceeding. But we still have time. That is what we're saying. We still have time, and don't forget, government can't tell we say they can't tell us that the functions of the Electoral Commission they don't stall because there is no Chief Electoral Commissioner. No, Mr. Alpha has been acting. He's been acting. And the functions of the commissions are being executed. So waiting from now to April, I mean, riding on the back of waiting, the Deputy Speaker say, it's not forever. We can wait. And then, you see, I mentioned, say, if government or president really committed to this, they use the certificate of urgency for tell parliament, say, una pass this law because I want to see that all waiting we discuss na the tripartite committee for electoral reforms and management be done. So using the certificate of urgency for call on or expedite the process would show commitment, would show goodwill, would show good conscience to this appointment.
If Parliament agree for Edmond Alpha in appointment as Chief Electoral Commissioner, waiting the lawyer society then fair if it go through Parliament smoothly?
Well, again, it could just show we see all of the people and the stakeholders of this tripartite have not shown commitment to the agreement, to the recommendations, or to the process. That is what we will conclude. We'll just conclude that. Because the commitment, now for make we exercise restraint and follow them. But if you go ahead and approve, we don't show we clearly say it's a departure from the tripartite recommendations and going to the script where we be used for 2023 elections, we create all this tension, we create all this doubt, we create all these concerns. So if Parliament proceed for approve, it will just confirm, say, there has been no commitment from the stakeholders.
All right, continue for the with me at the studio. A name now Claude Bami Davis, and the Public Relations Officer for Lawyers Society. This morning, it states their opinion where they get on the appointment of the new Chief Electoral Commissioner, Edmond Alpha, where they wait now for parliamentary approval for them. Just them believe say this is a betrayal of the agreement for national unity where the government of His Excellency the President and that of the opposition APC been signed after the 2023 elections. Well, what they can talk to now, the Public Relations Officer again for the Sierra Leone Bar Association, winner Alfred Kamanda. We just don't join me at the studio. Good morning, Alfred.
Good morning, and sorry for working very late.
It's okay. Before we can look at our position on the appointment of Edmond Alpha as the new Chief Electoral Commissioner, we soon get a very busy weekend issuing two different press releases. The first press release owner issue, owner congratulate Edmond Alpha for the appointment. Then owner pull again another press release, also owner take out the congratulation, and owner state and say that press release owner the last one supersede the first one we owner pull. And immediately after the first press release owner pull and congratulate Edmond Alpha, we also owner colleague lawyer again, Basita Michael, right on social media, the question, the premature congratulations of that press release, they immediately una come back and withdraw and pull another one. What's in the happen?
Well, it's really about decency, and it's about the profession which I will find myself. Just like how journalists get a duty to, then listeners, we self get a duty to the country and the people who they serve. If you don't do something and you feel, say, you're not correct, the honorable thing for do, you to come back and do the correct thing. People. Of course, the sad part now that we live in a society where people they see that's very strange. Oh, really? You don't do this, then you come back, you do. No, but that's the honorable thing to do. So, firstly, we stand by the second press release. And the key reason has to do with the fact that after we first meeting, because, we meet as directors and then we agree before we come out with a release. That was the initial position of directors. Then after that, we get another meeting with directors and then we decide, I think there's a misstep here because vision clearly say you need parliamentary approval. That's the position, even though it was not consensus, because for me, for example, I hold a completely different view, but it's not my view that I'm here to discuss at the Sierra Leone Bar Association. So I don't get more than how many people, friends, comrades of the Radicals Club and people from other areas where gets appointed, and then they actually need the approval of Parliament. But before the approval, we actually don't congratulate them. So to me, I think, say, appointment different from the approval, even though it's a process it's a two-tier process. The president appoints in accordance with the Constitution, and then there is room for approval by Parliament.
So
understand?
Why the rush will lead to that mistake?
So firstly, I don't think there was any rush. There was no rush. This is us meeting and then taking a decision. Like I tell you, at a certain stage, a group of people decide, say, this is how we want it, and then we put it out that way. The only problem with the first release from the end, I know they talk about the association itself, now the fact that we went on to state that in the performance of in function, make it do this and this and this properly and things like that, way go through Parliament. You understand? So that was the mistake, and we own up to that mistake, and we are fine with this, that we don't reach out back to members of the public and don't inform them, say this is our current status. We are seized of this fact that the president, using the constitutional provisions, don't appoint somebody. They don't consult with political parties. It's required by law. Then, of course, based on what we get out there is that 14 political parties, 12 say we are okay, Mr. President, and 2 say we are not. And that's the beauty of democracy. The fact that you still get 2 other political parties where decide, say, no, we not accept it in the president don't say. We think, say, there are more the things we need for do. But waiting the other 2 political parties get for know that this is a democracy. It's a numbers game. You understand? So we get for consider the opinion of the 12 political parties. Then if Edmond Abu go now and finally gets approval from Parliament, he owe a duty and a responsibility not just to the 12 political parties where actually don't get approval, but even to the 2. He get for look into them concerns like we then don't raise and ensure, say, whilst it is serving that capacity, provided Parliament's approval, whilst it is serving that capacity, it serve the interest of every political party and every Sierra Leonean.
Now let's look at the issue of the appointment itself. For the Sierra Leone Bar Association, we made up of lawyers. Plenty of people don't discuss this from where the president in office write letter to political parties and say get the intention for appoint Edmond Alpha for be Chief Electoral Commissioner. Everybody gets your own concern why for appoint or why not for appoint. For the Bar Association, let's look at the timeliness. Why una believe say this appointment of the Chief Electoral Commissioner for una it's okay? Why?
Okay. So the good thing is, I just walk in at the area about a tripartite rights arrangement or something like that. So firstly, no documents not on kick out the 1991 Constitution. That's one thing we get for puts now in mind. And this documents, now the most important documents that Sierra Leone, as far as every other thing what they do, we are guided by this document. So nothing, no dates, we don't say this constitution, or put it aside and then begin look at other documents then. So to we, one of we functions, probably the other society, then would they defend other thing. But we in this constitution would they defend. So now, if you defend this constitution, you have to look at, is there a provision within this constitution where you give the president's rights for appoint the chief electoral commissioner? Yes, there is a provision. You understand? The provision is clearly here. When at 32.3 of the Constitution, the members of the Electoral Commission shall be appointed by the President after consultation with the leaders of all registered political parties and subject to the approval of Parliament. So, firstly, even the one way they talk say we acted with speed and things like that. So then self don't equally, if we agree with that, then self don't equally commit the same thing. Because there is a provision for approval. So we don't trust Parliament. Is that what we are saying? That Parliament is not going to scrutinize this person? So now, there are two things here. You have to deal with whether the president get the rights for do in accordance with the Constitution. We don't see any. The second thing is the procedure where you for employ before you actually appoint the Chief Electoral Commissioner. And the procedure say you for consult with the leaders of all registered political parties. And according to UNICEF and waiting available, now that's 14 political parties we are consulted. 12 out of 14 decide say, we dey go with the president. 2 say, we know they go with the president because of their reasons, and then get right to that. So based on this, you see say, the president get rights for do then they don't use the rights procedures. Then equally, now, waiting this president don't do these appointments, not to final something. Again, for go to Parliament, when are the people's representatives, for go now scrutinize this person, and whatever we don't put out there, whether not the first press release, the second press release, enough form part of the documents that were there before Parliament for actually scrutinize the Chief Electoral Commissioner. Yes.
The Sierra Bar Association acknowledge the fact, say, electoral reforms and they go on now, we go for affect that particular section there of provision we did from the Constitution where they talk about how for appoint a Chief Electoral Commissioner. I'm aware say the reforms and they on now when our government itself back, they with the opposition will sign them where the Parliament now for amend. Aware.
So we all aware say we don't take positive steps as a country, and we as a Sierra Leone Bar Association be also involved in them processes there for reform the electoral process. You understand? However, like I tell Una, there is no document we don't suspend this constitution. Say because reforms are ongoing, so the constitution has been suspended. That the president not get rights again for appointments. No. Even in this process.
Same constitution, it already did before Parliament for amend certain section for bringing waiting government and the opposition be agree and sign to leading to the 2028 elections.
Thank you.
For let waiting happen 2023 and not happen again. And the way how
is it limited to waiting happen 2023 or waiting be done they happen?
Waiting be done they
in
happen
all electoral cycles.
Let it not happen again.
Thank you.
And one of them things there are the appointment of the Chief Electoral Commission.
Thank you.
So the question now is why the urgency? Why the president no wait? And according to Lawyer Society, then believes that the president even get the powers for issue out a certificate of urgency to Parliament.
Okay.
For they then speed up with the constitutional amendment.
Okay.
If it be really want for appoint a new chief electoral commissioner at this point.
You also ask this lawyers society if the presidents get rights under the constitution for appoint the chief electoral commission whilst this process they go on.
Nobody
well, so fine. So let's stick to the law. Law not stick to emotions. Law not stick to with different cleavages, with different attachments. Let's don't stick to that. We are lawyers. Let's stick with the law. Now, because reforms they go on, it don't stall the process. It don't say the constitution now because this they go on. Oh, it's a military regime now because basically that's what the military does. When they come to power, they suspend the constitution. That's not the case here. The fact that electoral reforms they go on, no means say the president not for performing functions. No means say the country for they at a standstill. Firstly, even the electoral reforms who they talk about, somebody get for steer that process. So the appointment of this person, one, are they in line with the law? Two, they don't follow the procedures wherein they don't consult with all political parties. Three, it gets a third tier now. Wherein you're sending it back to the same parliament. We say the need for look at certain documents in respect of reforms. For me then do approval. So now, even this constitutional review process, all of these reforms, we don't ask ourselves, is there a timeline as to when this whole process get for come to an end? Then we begin. So let's say we are going to wait for parliament do all of this. We have how many years left? NEC, National Electoral Commission, get for prepare for the next elections. We're very, very important to the people of Sierra Leone. We're very important to the progress and development as a country we don't achieve over the years. So you get for need somebody we're not there in an acting capacity, but a substantive electoral commissioner we go steer the whole process. So to me and to the Sierra Leone Bar Association, we see say the president has acted in accordance with the law, procedures have been followed, and now it's left for parliament for either approve or disapprove. We then get rights for do.
But Edmond Alpha already be done the act in this capacity, and so far no complaint no be done come it whilst they act in the capacity. One another see this as hasty appointments whilst the president for just done with, then complete the amendments and see what in parliament will agree for.
No, we not see as any hasty process. In fact, I've told you there is nothing where the presidents don't do where they outside the provisions of this constitution. If there is any, let them bring them up to our attention. Maybe sometimes we not look at the acts, the constitution properly. It's something we get better heads. We go draw our attention. Say, hey, no, the presidents decide not to follow this law, you not follow that law, you not follow that law. Waiting basically then at the floor now that this process they go on, that process they go on. So long we wait. No. There's a provision within the constitution and that has been followed. And like I say, he has been acting correct. But now we are heading to a very important election in our nation's history. You understand? And elections, not a one-day process. It's like if I get for go to battle, not so the day of the battle like the whole thing. You get for get planning stage. You get for put things them in place. So the Electoral Commission itself get a substantive leader where they take decisions, where they affect the entire governance of the electoral architecture and we the people of this country. So there is nothing wrong for me the president do the appointment. If parliament, when our own representatives feel say this man not fit and not get what it take for appointment to this position, then can go and say no, we don't want this person.
So Alfred, now that President Biodo appoints the chief electoral commissioner, in the constitutional amendments building a parliament, they wait for parliamentary approval.
Thank you.
For adopt them inside the 1991 constitution. in that clause, we talk about the search and nomination committee.
Yeah.
Way for determine how the president will appoint the next chief electoral commissioner. If it dey inside the new amendment, what thing go happen to Edmond Alpha according to law?
According to law, that they not get for affect her anymore because he's already appointed before that law came into effect. So the current law, section 32(3) of the 1991 Constitution, it don't make it clear how you appoint the Chief Electoral Commission and not talk about them provisions and the way they talk about. You understand? So if there are reforms, they get for affect the next electoral commissioner where any other president get for appoint.
I asked this question for let you give your legal interpretation.
Yeah, sure, that's what I've done.
We talked to the deputy leader of government business the last time. We can talk to back this morning.
Okay.
In belief say immediately then don't amend the constitution.
Yeah.
If that clause they on how for appoint the next chief electoral commissioner still stand inside the constitution.
Okay.
Automatically, Mr. Edmond Alpha, they cease for be electoral commissioner.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's completely new to me. So, for example, I mean, they follow the situation, Senegal, yeah, where then be one do a constitutional review. We are in a move away from 5 years to 7 years. So now, this president who elects, law assumes, say, will be elected under the 5-year term. Then now, whilst they're in office, we do a constitutional review, say, presidents for serve for 7 years. So are you going to say he's going to act under the new constitution or the old constitution way under the he come to power? So my own conclusion in this, if Edmond Alpha has been appointed, approval in parliament, he is now the chief electoral commissioner, any law we get for come they affect the new appointments we get for take place. It not go affect this already appointed person where they na the substantive seats. That's my position. I might be wrong, but that's my position.
What are your position about agreement where two people then sign agreement? A binding for let them strictly adhere to waiting there inside this agreement from a legal mind, because you know
agreement.
And normally una self can help clients them for draft certain agreements them where they want for going to.
So agreements are just one of the contracts. So you gotta forget different things them way you need forget that thing they actually actionable. So just agreements for waiting. Agreements say we need for do this, we need for do that, we need for do that. So now you get other things them if now a contract arrangement we get for look at. You get for look at the intention for create legal relationship. You understand? You get for look at certainty. You understand? You get for look at consideration. But not the consideration where the parties then provide. Now, if you they talk about the agreements where the political parties get.
The agreement for national unity.
Yes, this agreement is between WUDA and WUDA.
The APC and the SLPP government.
So now that's where the problem is. If you actually they talk about we electioneering process, where we don't talk say you get, for example, in this case you have 14 political parties, 2 say then they go this way, then the 12 say then they go this way. Maybe we assume there could be 17 political parties or more way registered. Then you say for the entire country, just 2 parties come together for an agreement so they affect all the other political parties. I don't even think say then they make any sense.
So in this case, now issue of legality or morality, because it's like the agreements don't scatter now.
So if we go into, so basically me fear that I'm here to speak on legal issues and not moral issues. Yeah. So I'm saying if you have a situation like this, I'm not saying they talk about an agreement where they cover members of SLAJ, yeah? Then you take just Liberty TV, then you take AYV, you left all the others, then you feel say that agreements they for cover the other people away, not the parts of the agreements. Look at it from that angle again, whether it's legal. You understand? Maybe this one will be an agreement between the two for say they're able, because then say, oh, we are the giants them in all of this process. But I think there is a lacuna in all of that, that if they wanted to make it something really binding on everybody, then for them involve other political parties, and enough for just end at an agreement. Because waiting to stall this constitutional review process itself, we don't everybody's from then send away with a school, you understand? From this person to that person. Now put all of that into one document, like Kenya, waiting Kenya don't do, one of the progressive constitutions in Africa. If we put all of that together, it helps to resolve all of these issues. But for say two political parties, then just go meet, then they enter into agreements, then you want to use them for a national agenda where they capture all other political parties, all other political interests. I think there's a problem there, and I don't know how to enforce if they want for enforcer at all.
What's the opinion of the bar for the fact say then go into disagreements because of disputes that wouldn't happen when election they happen, especially 2023 young, then coming for appoint somebody when I be a key player again in that same election will been cause a lot of problem for the country to a point where the opposition not been take part in governance until them been go into this agreement. Then you take that same person where been the part of that process will lead to this agreement, make an the head of the institution where they conduct the elections. What's on our opinion on that?
I think you're speaking in riddles, and they make it difficult for me. They talk about that person, that person, that person.
Now one pan the players them now the 2023 elections.
Okay.
And we all know after the elections, waiting be happen at the country. The opposition have been participating in governance for a very long time. And it affects a lot of things in governance because government, opposition gets role for play as well. Now this same Edmond Alpha, when I've been part of the problem in 2023 elections, has been appointed for head the Electoral Commission.
So from a legal standpoint, I find it difficult to actually say 2023 election. So constitution, and we get documents that we deal with elections. Yeah? If you know say there is a problem with an election process, clearly there are provisions as to how you challenge that process. I don't dare the other day, and I tell Una the same thing about the Lawyers Society. We don't come on board. That you cannot be talking about, oh, we are not satisfied with a certain process, and then you did not challenge it in court. Rather, you begin use press releases, you begin go from one radio station to another, from one television station to another, and then you talk about the problem. Everybody will be feel say that process not being correct, being get right under the 1991 Constitution and under the Public Elections Act. For go court, challenge that process. In fact, it help for develop with jurisprudence. Like the 2012 elections, that may have been one way I actually witnessed the proceedings in the courts. One of the things that we end up bring, where we learn as lawyers, that's I'm not on lawyer yet, but we are learn and say today is a part of me. Now the fact say, every time now you bring an election petition, if you fail for bring the winner of that election, then there is a problem with your application. Because before the understanding of that, under both criminal and civil proceedings, the presidents of the nation, they enjoy immunity. But now the learned justices of the Supreme Court, being for reach a ruling, say, no, when it comes to elections, petitions, it's different. You need for bring the winner of the said elections to court, because now in election you the challenge. So that's an exception to that immunity rule. For me, they say if there are problems, and these problems really touch and concern the generality of the elections itself, it was only prudent that them for don't challenge and accord. Yes.
Alfred, we'll come back to you quickly. Welcome to Bami of Lawyers Society. We don't listen to both the legal submission them, all my whole young view as to why Una believes say the appointment of Edmond Alpha not proper. Bar Association believes say the president acts according to the powers where the Constitution gave. And according to Alfred, the 1991 Constitution is still supersede all other agreements, and because nothing will suspend that Constitution yet, and the president acts accordingly. Now, the parliamentary approval, everything they now at the hands of Parliament. So we can talk to the parliamentarian them just now. But una there for talk legality. If Edmond Alpha a appointment stand, waiting this they send as a signal where camper issues of the rule of law and respecting the laws of the land.
Okay, I will come to you this your question quickly, but make I just react to waiting Alfred talk about. The Constitution has not been suspended. We have not had that conversation at all to say the Constitution has been suspended, or that the tripartite recommendation outweigh or supersede the provisions of the Constitution. That is not what we're saying. But let us take this example. There was the penalty. Right? There was the law on death penalty. And that law day been there even before the abolition of the death penalty as enacted in 2022. President Bill don't stop the execution of people when they are convicted for murder, treason, or genocide. Even before 2022. So that is the goodwill that we want to talk about. That is the goodwill that we want to talk about. Say, he was committed for making abolish death penalty. And that act only came into effect in 2022. But when he came as president, even though the laws were there for death penalty, he said, no, me not the fella dandy. The laws were there. Not of us say the laws them, then he puts the laws aside. But he followed that and not allow let death penalty be done, take to the time where we enact the abolition, when are the law now. So it is in that same vein that we're saying, by that goodwill, by that commitment for the abolition of the death penalty, we make, even when you come, even before the law they pass, you be non-stop, let them stop for kill people them when they are convicted of murder, treason, or genocide. So it is that same commitment. Now we they call on, say President Bioduya, that same commitment where you be make them back pan this, follow this. Yes, we Constitution say this, but now we don't get to the tripartite recommendation. We don't say, na so the electoral reforms here for take place. Na so we for manage we elections. Show that same commitment where the government be don't say you're committed to it for meet up 2028 elections. So even though the Constitution is there, it has not yet been amended, you can show your commitment to that recommendation or those recommendations by allowing those recommendations to be adopted before you go back to the old script. That is all what we're saying. So for make you say, oh, we're let them show we waiting, they don't breach and all. We're not saying there's any provision breached. That's clear. But his commitment to the process for make people, I spoke about international and national and distrust, because you put international players into the tripartite committee. You put National Party, one of the major parties in Sierra Leone, APC. Yourself, the government was there. And then when I agree on something, then now we know the CCD agreement and they be followed. It brings out distrust in the process. So, on your question of whether waiting this old for we, it is really, really a point that unless we want to go back to what happened in 2023, then we will continue for follow these provisions instead of the recommendations, particular elections. When it talk about, say, the tribe, anything say there were problems with the 2023 elections, that is not a sincere position. Because if there were no problems on the 2023 elections, why was the tripartite committee established? Now, because there were concerns. They not just grab say law from tripartite committee. Tripartite committee was formed because of the issues, concerns, and problems and doubts over the 2023 elections. So for let somebody say, oh no, me not believe say there were problems. There were problems. And now we they call on we go the stakeholder. You see, we not even want to talk about the appointment, because what we're saying is the president for don't show goodwill, don't show restraint, and call on the process for be expedited.
So this goodwill way una they call for, critic go tell you say the goodwill way una they ask for, no mean say that's for supersede the constitution, because you self already don't say there was no breach to the constitution, no law nor the way the president break for appoint Edmond Alpha in that capacity. Una just they ask for in goodwill. How una want for determine the goodwill for supersede that of the law where the president used for do the appointment?
I don't give the example of the death penalty issue. There was law on death penalty. It not be abolished it before 2022, but president may don't stop death penalty for be executed. So then a commitment. It should say, I may don't make this promise say, at the stop death penalty, at the abolish death penalty. But since it gave or take time for pass the law, for show me commitment to that abolition day, whilst at the wait for the death penalty act, the abolition of the death penalty, they know they kill nobody now. You when you commit murder, you go life imprisonment or 30 years imprisonment. So that same commitment day. You can't say there was no law. The death penalty law been dead day.
So,
but we enact the abolition in 2022. So he was committed to abolishing that death penalty.
Claude,
now make it stop him.
Claude, from what you're saying, you just come out from the point of respecting commitment and morality.
Correct.
Presidents not go against any legal provision of the constitution or any legality when you look at the laws of the land. You just they talk about morality and respecting the agreement where they and the APC be done sign to.
Yeah.
What you go say to somebody, they say the lawyer society ought for no better than supposed for come out from the point of legality. If the president respects the laws of the land, then why the issues?
So when you look at we press release, especially the second one, we say the decision is hasty. We know they can couch a press release because we bring in law or bring in issues because we want to state laws or provisions of the constitution. Good conscience. All me discussion I don't say it's about good conscience, goodwill, and respecting or being committed to the TSA. You know, now a typical example would be, I can make this example. I don't say I want for eat cassava leaves at 10 o'clock today. Right. Then just 9 o'clock, I don't tell me cook. They prepare cassava leaves for me. I'm committed to eating that cassava. And then at 9 o'clock, I grab no more say, no, when a pepper soup nowadays eat. What happens to wait till you don't buy the ingredient for cook the cassava leaves? What happened to it? Waste. So when you ask the question, say, if that position of the search and nomination committee would become redundant, it would become redundant because you have already proceeded to appoint the chief electoral commissioner. And after that appointment, they adopt their recommendations here. We make provision for the search and nomination committee. That provision as a 2028 would be a redundant provision. It's of no moment.
To protect the rule of law, for protecting them where they inside a book the way also in the constitution, for ensure say no government or president no breach or do things where they go against the provisions of the Constitution. Now, in his capacity, he has done what the Constitution says.
Yes, the issue of breach would have come in if we don't get close to election and then some. I mean, there's no point here for talk about breach now, because we do have time. We're talking about time. We do have time. Elections are to be held in 2028.
All right.
This is 2026. So we get time. And again, I noted here, see, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament don't say by April, all of these would have been done and dusted with. So from now to April, for make the president don't wait for this appointment, does that look like forever? No, it doesn't look like forever.
Thank you. The time for ushering now the MP them quickly. Claude, on also don't establish now say the president not breach any section of the Constitution. It go according to the laws we get the power for appoint Chief Electoral Commissioner. Now it awaits parliamentary approval. The APC don't come out clear and say they know they agree with the appointment of this individual for serve in that capacity. Legally, what are the rights the way you think say the APC for do at this point?
So I'm happy that this question came, but I just make some clarification. But I made it talk about the election is in 2028. So I think waiting it really enable understand that there is an electoral cycle where they begin long before 2028. We therefore talk about planning, about how they get ballot papers, how they do this, how they do that. So they begin long before that. So because of that, you don't get you passing. Now, the good thing is, I actually know before done, if not this not been the position that we are both in agreement, there was no need coming here, because I don't know why Lawyer Society, they still jump, all written and don't talk about goodwill, conscience. We are here to discuss the law. So I don't know why you are not sticking to the law. Allow the politicians to play the political role. Make them go and talk outside the law. Hey, President, so they beg you. We know say this, the law don't give you power for do this, but please wait for we this and this and this. Now the APC gets huge number of parliaments. Now a parliament in work. And the good thing is, now then two no more day. Then two the way they in the tripartite, they can go now and do the tripartite now parliament. That two can decide now, say, okay, we not agree. We agree, then the process go on. But that's what the APC is supposed to do. Of course, law say they not go. SLPP will still continue with the process, and then because we don't see situations like that.
Please, somebody send a message for Ila just read that before we left you on our go.
Yes.
Adams Bango on Facebook, they say, Mr. Commander, the issues at hand are both legal and moral, and they strike at the very foundation of peace. Legally, there was clear intention and commitment from all parties involved. The agreement was not solely between APC and its stakeholders. It also included the SLPP, the governing party. Its finalization at State House places the government of Sierra Leone squarely within the framework of responsibility. For that reason, the argument that other political parties were not involved and should therefore be disregarded is neither accurate nor helpful. Such a position undermines our credibility as a nation and risks deepening mistrust in the handling of future national disputes. If we are to build lasting peace, we must honor the spirit and letter of agreement made at the highest levels of governance.
And this one quickly, they say, as a lawyer, is an agreement not binding and enforceable by law?
Quickly, just answer them two questions.
So I don't make it clear the last question. I will not answer something about agreements. So when it comes to a contract, you get different stages of them for where you actually able to enforce them. So there are times me and you go don't agree, but maybe the team will agree on an illegal something. You're not able to enforce them. Like, let's say, for example, me and you go into a contract, say, go kill this person, for example. That's an illegal contract. You cannot enforce it. You understand? Hey, Bo, Mr. Club,
we're not getting enough time. Thank you, gentlemen. Una join with this morning for come give on our own legal position them. Quickly, Lord, just take this message from our partners them. They bring in the 2 members of parliament say we deal with we now. For now we can know waiting at parliament them position on the appointment of Mr. Edmond Alpha as everything left na their hand now for approve Mr. Edmond Alpha for be the new chief electoral commissioner. When they come back shortly, Lord, just take this short message from our partners, then they will kind of go talk to the 2 members of parliament then.
To pay bills with the UBA mobile app, just log into the app. Click on Pay Bills within the Quick Links dashboard. You'll be provided with a list of various biller categories like cable TV, sports and gaming, utilities, airtime and data, and so on. Click on the biller category you want. Then select from a list of price options provided by the biller. Click Confirm to proceed with the transaction. Enter your PIN and click OK. And you're done. Enjoy paying your bills with the UBA mobile app. To pay bills with the UBA mobile app, just log into the app. Click on Pay Bills within the Quick Links dashboard. You'll be provided with a list of various biller categories like cable TV, sports and gaming, utilities, airtime and data, and so on. Click on the biller category you want. Then select from a list of price options provided by the biller. Click Confirm to proceed with the transaction. Enter your PIN and click OK. And you're done. Enjoy paying your bills with the UBA mobile app. To pay bills with the UBA mobile app, just log into the app. Click on Pay Bills within the Quick Links dashboard. You'll be provided with a list of various biller categories like cable TV, sports and gaming, utilities, airtime and data, and so on. Click on the biller category you want. Then select from a list of price options provided by the biller. Click Confirm to proceed with the transaction. Enter your PIN and click OK. And you're done. Enjoy paying your bills with the UBA mobile app.
All right, welcome back. You still watch the Breakfast Show, where they come to you live na Liberty Online TV. Una just be hearing from the lawyers them. Now they can talk to the people when at the desk all thing left about the appointment of the Chief Electoral Commissioner, when are the members of Parliament, where they represent the majority of Sierra Leoneans them. Well, now the program this morning, it's a pleasure for get Honorable Bashiru Siliki, when I Deputy Leader of Government Business at Parliament. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show. We also get at the studio today a representative from the All People's Congress APC Party, when Honorable Umfa G. Kuruma. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show.